Hey guys, got a 91 Wrangler update for you. As you can see, I have gotten a soft top kit for it. I will be making a video on that right after I do this one. But pretty much it's a soft top. That's about the summary of it. Otherwise, I've just kind of been driving it. Not really no major issues to speak of. I did have an intake manifold bolt start leaking a little bit, seeping oil through it, so I resealed that. And the back of the intake, where the block has that kind of peak in the transmission bell housing mounting surface, noticed a little bit of seeping coming out of that. Nothing that's making drips on the ground or anything. I noticed the transmission's a little moist per se, but otherwise nothing huge going on. Actually, now that I think about it, the only other real thing was one day I went to fill it up, got gas in it, and filled it, up to a completely full tank, and got home, parked it, and was like, man, it smells like gas. And the vent hoses up there, can't really see them, but pretty much I just have the vents in the gas tank routed up into the quarter panel, which is where they would be in a factory YJ. They mount up here or up there on in between the reinforcement piece here and the side of the tub. They mount onto that reinforcement piece. But what ended up happening was, I guess there was built up pressure in the tank from it being a hot day and it being completely filled, and it just kind of started trickling gas out of it. So I cracked the gas cap open, let it vent, which there was pressure built up in there. You crack the gas cap and it so I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if those vents are faulty, like it doesn't really make sense to me that there's still pressure in the gas tank, but there's pressure in the gas tank, like it's not being vented, but the vents are spewing gas out of them. Maybe it was just pressure in the filler neck in between the gas and the gas cap, but I don't know. But yeah, I've just been driving it. There's really only maybe one or two things that I want to really do on it. Number one being, I got to straighten the steering wheel out. I do have another steering kit to put on it. It's just all brand new parts, because this is all the original stuff apart from the steering stabilizer, and I put new dust boots on the tie rods, but otherwise it's all the original tie rods and everything, at least original to when I got it. And I've been going through a little tuning phase on this car. For a while, it was, after I first put this engine in, it would kind of, like, if you gave it any gas when you went to start it, it would act like it's completely flooded out. But if you didn't give it any gas, it would just kind of pop once, and then you'd have to give it gas. So that and driving it around, it'll be fine. But then when you go to romp on it from a stop sign or something, it'll puff out black smoke out the back like it's running rich. So I've been kind of playing with the accelerator pump squirters and tuning the carburetor a little bit better. Now I have, I think, a 25, it's a Holley 650 double pumper. So it has a squirter for the primaries and a squirter for the secondaries. I have a 25 squirter in the primaries and a 28 squirter in the secondaries. I think I'm going to swap them around. So there's a 28 in the primaries and a 25 in the secondaries. Either that or just do two 28s. Because from what I've read online, it's a lot of arguments online. But from what I've read, generally speaking, you want to have the same size squirter in the secondaries and in the primaries. But now it kind of, you know, you can start it, you know, you give it just a tiny bit of gas and then it'll start, and then you got to put your foot on the gas pedal and kind of keep it alive, because I don't have the high idle set up. I've also been messing with the choke. For some reason, I took it to a car show, I think, last Thursday, or no, 2 Thursdays ago, and when I got there, I was messing with, before I went, I was messing with the choke, and for some reason, the choke housing had completely rotated forward to where the choke wasn't even doing anything. Don't know how that happened, because all those screws were tight, but set it back to where it should be. So now you kind of let it idle, let it manually high idle it for a little bit, and then it'll kind of sort itself out. But now the issue I'm dealing with is it has, if you're, you know, if you're like at a stop and you go to kind of give it any kind of sudden throttle that isn't like steady, like slowly pressing on the gas, it'll kind of have a dead spot. Which it did have that before. I'm trying to figure out what that is. But yeah, so pretty much just tuning the carburetor. I got to get the high idle set up. It's been driving great ever since I redid the rear end leaf spring perches. It tracks straight apart from the steering wheel being off. You can see kind of lining the camera up to where the edge of the fender flare is. You got about 1.5 inches of tread poking out. And then on this side, pretty much the same thing. So, you know, I measured a good few times and then buzzed it in. So this time it should be dead nuts centered. It doesn't have the vibration that it used to have. When you get up to like 45 miles an hour, it would have a vibration in the drive line. That's totally gone now. So that's really nice. Now I can feel a lot more comfortable driving at a high speeds. Pretty much, you know, before I used to drive it just around town, you know, doing less than 45 miles an hour because I didn't like the vibration. And now I can actually drive it longer distances. I mean, I've driven it, you know, 45 minutes to an hour before, but, you know, now I can drive it further than that without being super sketched out the whole time. Because, you know, before it would be vibrating and I would kind of get skeeved out that, oh man, maybe the U-joint's going to overheat and explode or something. But no, now it's totally fine. I'm very happy with how it turned out. But yeah, I'm going to make a video on the soft top kit, so I'll put that up after I put this video up. But otherwise, it's been going really good. I've also been driving my Cherokee around that I showed you guys in the last video. It's going pretty good. I'll probably have an update video on that out soon. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys, and I will see you in the next one.